very end. Ron in Arizona, you are on the air. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Two quick points. First, I'd like to say that Pastor Manning is correct that Barry Soetoro is a type of the Antichrist, but he cannot be the Antichrist because he's way too old. When the Antichrist rises to power, he'll be in his 30s. He'll come out of Iraq. He'll be the ruler of Iraq. And the Antichrist will not rise to power for at least another 20 years. So that,
well, look, that stuff can be debated. It's a secular show. Manning's just been all over CNN, Fox, you name it. And then when we talked to him, it turned out their ministry's fans of the show. And so I just wanted, as a prominent black preacher who's not worshiping Barack Obama, to get his perspective on Barack Obama. But you have a good point there, Ron. Anything else?
I recently wrote a book explaining this and the New World Order and all that. But the second thing is, I think when you talk about Barry Soetoro and his birth certificate, where he was born, if you could bring up the fact that it doesn't matter because he is not the President of the United States of America. In 1861, when the Southern congressmen and senators walked out, the Union was dissolved.
No, but sir, I understand all. Listen, I appreciate your call, but filing straw men and saying that it's a corrupt republic and that the District of Columbia, all of that is based in reality, but the system just ignores it. So yes, you can say that the federal government was a tyranny since the Civil War, but it's here with us now. So we got to try to audit the Fed. We don't just have a problem with the federal government. The federal government's got global bankers sitting on top of it. Then here's the federal government, the state governments, and us. We got to get the bankers off the top of the pyramid first before we cut the federal government down to size. Up there pulling the levers and flipping the dials and running the system, the technocracy, is offshore banking cartels. We've had a corporate takeover. And so we got to get the bankers out of here first, then we can debate all this other stuff. But I hear you, Ron. Good points there. Daniel in Oklahoma. Daniel, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Just had a kind of a request because I've been hearing a lot, doing a lot of research on the legitimacy of his presidency, Obama's. And I've actually heard on more than one case that they removed a video from YouTube and all the Internet of Barack Obama actually admitting that he wasn't eligible to be the President of the United States. And this was when Alan Keyes, when he was doing his campaign for running for the Senate, he actually, Alan Keyes confronted him backstage and said, "Hey, what are you doing this for? You're not eligible." And he said, "Well, what does it matter? I'm not running for the President of the United States."
Well, there's one big problem with that rumor, and I've heard it, and I appreciate your call, Daniel. But it's okay to bring the point up. I mean, it's a good question to ask. Alan Keyes would be running around talking about this. Alan Keyes hates Barack Obama. Ambassador Alan Keyes. So there's your issue right there. I mean, I always hear about, I get calls every week on and off air about, my cousin knows a guy who works at a repair shop who saw a checkpoint where a truck dumped over full of martial law signs. I've been hearing that for 14 years. But I've got mainstream news, martial law preparations, foreign troops training for gun confiscations and take on the American people, FEMA press releases, NLE09, we're going to be covering all week, and I can't get people to pay attention to it. The so-called swine flu is clearly manufactured. Baxter and others put in patents for it a year before it popped up. They're building mass graves, getting ready for martial law. I gave you secret documents before it was mainstream news. Now it's mainstream news. Still it's still not that big of an issue. And all I'm saying is Obama could clear all this up by releasing his birth certificate. And don't give me he has. No, he hasn't. He hasn't released, he's released a certificate. And now they've waited so long they could fake one. I mean, why did he post his birth certificate before anybody was asking the question? Or his certificate of birth certificate? Certificate of live birth. Oh, God. Robert in Texas. Robert, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Good, sir.
I was broadcasting. I was on the air last night talking about NLE 09, warning people about the foreign troops coming over here. And I had a listener come in the chat room, posted a link to the FEMA website, and said, "Where does it say anything about foreign troops?" And I said, "It's right there in paragraph 3." So I went back to the FEMA site, and it was gone. At the bottom of the site, it says last edited on July 24th.
Well, let's check into this. The top link when you put in National Level Exercise 2009 is a FEMA link, and I printed this again last night, and the guys printed some more on this today, National Level Exercise 2009, and it says that they're working with federal agencies, state, tribal, and the United States welcomes the participation of Australia, Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and NLE 09. Then you get into the exercise, which is for counterintelligence, spying on us, foreign governments helping, and practicing, quote, taking on terrorists in the United States. And then here is the press release from FEMA. FEMA, Israeli Defense Forces, home front command partner for martial law. And when you go read this, and then it's also in newspapers, they say the Israelis, because they know how to lock down a city, set up checkpoints, they're training all the major police departments on how to set up checkpoints and basically turn us into Gaza. And whether you love Israel or hate Israel, I sure don't want America to be like Israel, a total police state. But there's the FEMA official document. Guys, pull up FEMA. Just put into Google on screen right now for everybody. National Level Exercise 2009. Oh, there it is. It still says, there it is on screen right here. Post that on screen for folks watching on prisonplanet.tv. For folks on the radio, just Google National Level Exercise NLE 09. The first link's FEMA press release that was put out a few months ago. And third paragraph says foreign troops right there. So, sir, I don't know what FEMA sheet you're looking at.
Well, no, I'm looking at the same one you are. The last sentence was missing last night. It's back now. I'm looking at it right now. It's there. But if you also look at the bottom of the site, you see where they've been editing the site also. That
it says
page.
Last modified, Friday, July 24th. So you're right. Yeah, they've been in there changing things.
They've been changing things. So that last sentence was not there last night. It is back today, which makes me believe that
absolutely
you're getting the word out, and mainstream may be picking up on the foreign troops, so they had to put it back.
Well, I mean, I remember 2 months ago they had drills in Tucson and Phoenix with Israeli, German, French, Dutch, Australian, British, and a bunch of other, and it said in fighting terrorists, and the local news said practicing to fight American militias, and I've got Army reports all over the country. In fact, I showed one in the first hour today. I'll dig it out in a minute. This is all going on, and the public's in denial. Folks, we're not making this up. I appreciate your call, sir. In fact, guys, pull up the current MO story. FEMA, Israeli Defense Forces, home front command partner. FEMA, Israeli Defense Forces, home front command partner for martial law.